Dr. Gilbere, let's continue with our series on acronyms.
Okay.
We've talked about EI, environmental illness. We've talked about MCS. We've talked about things that have to do with food additives like monosodium glutamate. What is MARS, M-A-R-S?
Well, let me tell you. MARS is an acronym for Multiple Allergic Response Syndromes.
Multiple allergic response syndromes.
And if you recall in the other segments, I discussed that a syndrome is a condition where you're not really sure of the actual trigger point that caused the condition. So it's a syndrome is a multitude of causes. Okay, it's not just one cause like cancer. Cancer of the breast is cancer of the breast. This is a syndrome. But the reason I named and coined the phrase MARS is that when you talk about EI, environmental illness, or MCS, multiple chemical sensitivities, doesn't it make you as a consumer that maybe isn't aware about all those acronyms, doesn't it make you think that the only thing that person is reacting to is chemicals?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I feel that that's really confusing to the public and to the people that they need as a support system. So I coined the phrase MARS because that means that you have multiple allergic reactions, whether it be from an organic piece of fruit, whether it be from something that is, everything is organic and it's a soup that you've cooked. Okay, the body is now responding because it's reached its toxic load. It's exceeded its total body burden. So when the toxins are being dumped in quicker than the body's ability to neutralize them, you end up with MARS. And so it doesn't mean that it's only chemicals. It can be anything that's natural. So that's why it's very difficult for a person with these invisible illnesses, which, as you know, I've written about many, many years. It's very difficult for these people to get support sometimes from their peers and from their family and coworkers and the congregation at their place of worship. Because they look at them and they think, well, you look perfectly okay. Maybe you're a little thinner because you're not able to eat as much, but you look fine. What they don't realize is that these are invisible disorders. Eventually that person, if they don't reduce the toxic load, isn't going to be able to attend their place of worship, isn't going to be able to work, isn't going to be able to grocery shop. And that's the way I was for a year. Literally homebound because I became allergic to everything. And it wasn't chemical sensitivities, it was everything. Today, an organic apple may be juiced and I don't have a problem. Thank God I've recovered, but I mean, I didn't have a problem. And the next day, the same batch of apples that you purchase at the health food store that are certified organic can cause an allergic reaction because it depends on the amount of toxic burden the body has to deal with at the moment you consume it.
So it's really just as insidious as chronic fatigue syndrome.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yet we have a tremendous success in reversing these disorders when the person deals with the right supplementation, when they deal with the right, whether it be functional foods or medical foods, meaning that it's a medical food that is meant to be a protein and also all of the herbs and the supplements to support the detoxification pathways. So in other words, the detoxification pathways of the liver, for instance, if you use certain types of foods that are considered functional foods, it basically means that it can sustain life on its own.
Well, I appreciate this, and let's come back at a later date and talk about how supplementation fits into all this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.